Okay, semi-final thoughts here for Isofarian Guards. I read all the books, all the storybooks, all the quests. Let's jump right in. Isofarian Guard is in essence an adventure game book, much like the fighting fantasy things like Forbidden Castle and Through the Black Hole. Choose your own adventure kind of style. Later on there was like Destiny Quest and the more modern versions, which drew the inspiration from video games, and video games drew the inspiration from these old books, so it's a kind of iterative evolution. And these are the more intelligent games with, let's see, there are some kind of riddles and puzzles and setups, so tactical grids, and what else is there? There's, so the spirit of this game is that the writing should be good to provide a theater of the mind. The Isofarian Guard is also an adventure game book. It consists of a ton of these books. There is like lots and lots of these books for every guard pair, and they all play. The difference between adventure game books and that they also play all certain parts of the map. With Isofarian Guard is in essence an adventure game book with tacked-on combat, much like Sleeping Gods, for example, but much more concrete than these adventure game books, at some cost. So let's talk about the pros. Storybook texts are great. Real page turners. I had a lot of fun with book 4, for example. Couldn't stop reading. To take it on at face value, you can just leave all the chips in the game box and just read the books, and then you'll have a great time. And the story also takes you to places beyond this map that is provided. So that's a plus. Second pro is the notes. Through the story, most notes are featured and named, and they have a backdrop story, so it provides some context. Third pro is the cohesion in the story. If you imagine guard pairs go through the same sequence of global events, so there's a world event list, and the guards move on different sequence of nodes. So each book starts on the same starting point and time, but somehow they come across a situation where another guard pair earlier affected something that you haven't read yet. And so some strange situations can occur that give you aha moments in a later book. And there is also the voice, the one that Gregory starts hearing, and that guides the pairs throughout Isofar and beyond, for some kind of grander purpose that gets clarified eventually in book 4. Tenebris, while still vague throughout book 1, in later books becomes more personal and more tangible, sentient, maybe. Now, the fourth pro is that the chip system for combat play is very efficient, and aside from the inefficient guard and enemy boards, once you find the space to set them up, playing and storing and setup is highly optimized. So that's really a pro. The fifth and last pro is the art is always cool. So the items and enemies look really cool. Also the pictures, they look cool. I've shown already this. Let's take some So here's, for example, so the items and enemies look really cool. Whoever did it, however, was somebody else who did the portraits in the map, because there's a distant quality difference. If you compare these two things, for example, totally different. Now, for the cons, the difficulty modes are not player friendly. So if you take the quest book or the rule book, I'm not sure if I have it here. No, it's in the other room. Easy mode is terribly poor, and any mode lacks bonus chip agency, as I had already discussed. You want to have more agency in the bonus chips in your bag. All modes lack banking of unusable black chips during battle. It's a problem. All modes lack fast travel. You want to run around the map and not have to go through unwanted encounters. All modes also lack the quick auto battle resolution of any kind. You either escape but you suffer the first strike, or you can avoid them, but to have to fight the same monster 10 times in a row, it doesn't add to any player enjoyment, and you should be able to have some kind of auto battle resolution. Point 7, another con is the total disconnect between the story versus the battle as results versus the quest. This is very important. Whatever you do in the story has no impact on the battle results, and has no impact on the quest. And whatever you do in the battle has no impact on the story or the quest, and whatever you do in the quest, the story doesn't care. So the main idea is that the players are free to grind in some kind of vacuum until they progress the story, but the game state, so for example you have, let's just take a random enemy. Yeah, so here, place a 3-star Tenebris Guard, an AI deck on enemy dashboard slot 1 and 2, place a 3-star Corrupted Guard, an AI deck on slot 3. This can also happen while you are running around in the wilderness, and then you have again and again you have the 3-star, because the world is in 3-star mode, Tenebris Guard and maybe Corrupted Guard, and they will never go extinct. It's always the same probabilities, if you battled 15 or 1,000 Tenebris Guards, the story is just the same. The game state holds no knowledge of what you have spent weeks on. Similarly, whatever quests you did or did not do, the story doesn't care. And that's a signal of that there is no harmony or coherence. Now, and there is also a con for lack of signaling. To clarify why it's not cool to dial up everything, consider an early quest which features a 2-star soldier on slot 1 and 2, both with plus ATK, plus dev, plus AP, plus HP, and regarding the description, this can easily be any 3-star challenge or an early 4-star challenge maybe, and there's no way for players to gorge and risk an hour of fruitless attempts that fail. And this lack of signaling means lack of consideration, and if anything, signals aloofness on the part of the producer. And these are also bad points that SKG can fix by changing their attitude. Now, next to last, con, point 9, lack of personalized enemies. So each guard pair encounters a few fixed monsters, for example an Eye of Uvidet or Corrupted Zook, etc. Regardless of guard pair, the Eye or Glacial Worm is always the same enemy. They are so irrespective of book, irrespective of guard, irrespective of guard pair. There are a few one guard, one encounter battles. So for example in book 3 there is Vera. That's a really cool one guard, one encounter battle, and there are a few more, one with Grigory alone. But that's not enough. So yeah, make it a little bit varied. Now, and the last point is that everything else is just too static. Field events are game state agnostic. Some are useless because they expect guards to have spare 3-star gear to trade. So that's these field events. Static event cards are too often either too powerful or useless. You can't dial them. And also the vendor and in prices are fixed. So here you have the vendor prices and the in prices, and they are always fixed. It makes no sense to sell 4-star gear in a 1-star game world. So what is it doing me here? Now, economy in general makes no sense. You can't make timber wolves go extinct, although in 4-star mode they do vanish. No city wants to buy fish except for Ryba, the fish town. So that can be easily changed. Have Rasdor wants fish, and have Ryba wants iron ore or something. Mines are all known beforehand and open. So you have here, for example, the mines, and they are always open. For gold, iron, and diamonds, assumingly plentiful and never exhausted, and this reduces all rare minerals to the same resource. It's just, well, this is the same thing. So, in summary, yeah, needs work. A lot of untapped potential.